Speaking about singing, Chad, what about your boy Morgan Wallen?
Well, I wouldn't call him my boy. I mean, we don't personally know each other, but I think in today's age of social media, we jump to opinions and we share our own opinion, whether we have any real facts or details about a situation. So whether something's good or bad, or somebody makes a mistake or whatever, we instantly jump on this train that we got to crucify them. And we weren't there. We don't know the details. So I reserve the right to not comment and look at all the people that comment on Facebook and go, don't throw stones when you live in glass houses.
I like it.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. That's a good take. I think, throwing a chair over 6 stories is, it's probably not the right move for Morgan, but, maybe there's more details that come out that make it look not as bad.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying anybody should go downtown and chunk a chair off the 6th floor of anything. However, I would reserve the right. I would wait to comment on things till we actually knew. And then, unfortunately, unless you really know them or were there and hanging out with the group that threw the chair, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, there was video, a month ago with a country singer, Chris Young, that for some reason he's in a bar fight and he gets arrested and all this stuff. Well, evidently, once it comes out, 48 hours later, he was in the right and the undercover officer was in the wrong. So, I just I think my stance on Facebook anyway. Yeah. So I wish people would just not share their opinion.
I get it. Yeah. Eclipse, the solar eclipse. Did you see it yesterday? Did you care to see it?
I saw 2 eclipses. Both were used and on Facebook Marketplace. That's about as eclipse as I saw.
Did you buy one?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. That's not my style. But
me and the family tried to see it, right? We had a lot of cloud covers, so didn't get a good view of it, but just a little sliver, right? But we saw the one in 2017, which, it was a bright, sunny day, and it was perfect. But I was talking to Will about it earlier. I don't know if we know the exact timeline, but it might be another 100 years before we get one in this area.
I heard somewhere 2045.
Oh, okay. Here close by in Tennessee? Area? Okay.
Like I heard that somewhere. I don't, somebody's going to be a fact checker out there and comment on Facebook and say that I'm an idiot, but this is for you. I'm guessing, and I was told, so 2045 is what I'm going to go with.
Okay. And that's still in our lifetime. That's good.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a eclipse on August 12th, 2045.
Golly.
It goes
thank you.
From California all the way down to Florida.
Yeah.
Around like that.
Okay. See?
So we could still get in that. Yeah, we can drive to it.
Whoever was going to comment on Facebook and say Chad didn't know what he's talking about, I got Will.
That's right.
And
you
Will's
got
my
checker
back.
over here.
Will's got my back. Yeah.
So college championship game last night. Did you see it?
No. Once I don't want to say that I lost interest because it's such a great tournament. I don't know that there's many tournaments or sporting events that are as good as March Madness. It's just something about it. The underdogs can win, all that. But once Tennessee was out, I was kind of done. Yeah. My feelings were hurt, and I gave up.
No other team you cared about?
No. Honestly.
You didn't want to see Purdue win it all?
I probably wanted Purdue to lose.
Okay. They did.
And they did
lose.
They did.
In case you didn't see it.
I did. I saw that update and was like, oh, good. They lost.
Yeah.
And I was preoccupied. Baylor had a baseball game last night against a crosstown rival. So that was more important than the basketball game.
And they won?
Yeah, we won.
Okay.
Shutout, 9-0.
Nice.
Yeah.
Must have had somebody good on the mound.
Yeah, we did. We really did. We got a senior that throws it pretty good. So what'd y'all do last night? You watched the game?
We actually had a baseball game too.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you didn't watch the game either?
We did not. Well, there was a guy that I know behind me watching it on an iPad, so I looked over every now and then. But other than that, didn't watch it. Saw who won.
Yeah.
That was about it.
And didn't really care?
Didn't really care.
Yeah.
No. I mean, a little interest in the Zach kid from Purdue, just because he's a 7'4" giant. I'm curious to know where he's going to get picked in the NBA draft.
Okay. What do you think there? Like, what do you think his game translates? I mean, you're a big dude.
I was having this conversation. I don't know if it was with you or somebody else, Chad, but I think he's going to be a lifelong backup center in the league.
I think so too.
Right? He's the prototypical center that you want in the 1990s.
Yeah,
early 2000s.
On a Bulls team, he would have been great.
Yes. But in today's age where you gotta guard Wembley
Yep.
from San Antonio out on the 3-point line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Luka's shooting threes, right?
Yeah.
Like Joel Embiid can actually shoot the basketball.
Yeah. He's going to get 15, 20 minutes a game, if that. He's going to come in and play the post, and then they're going to take him out.
Well, part of his game that I think is going to take the biggest hit in the NBA, if you watched them play Tennessee for 4 minutes, the dude got fouled when anybody breathed on him. That's not going to happen in the NBA.
Absolutely.
Because he's going to match up against somebody his size.
Yeah.
So it's going to be him on him in the NBA versus him on some dude that's 6'9". So there's no real mismatch as far as size goes. So, yeah, I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, he's already made $1 million or $2 million.
Probably.
In college. Probably more, right?
Probably.
Sports and business is kind of changing a little bit these days, right? NIL is a big factor of that, right? In college. I think that's going to change. It's going to have a trickle down effect in what happens in youth sports too. I believe it will, right? Because when you can now make $5-10 million in NIL money, why are you not going to invest sooner to get to a higher level?
Yeah, I would agree with that to an extent. If you look at NIL money, it's the chance to get rich quicker, right? So a kid's not having to go to, play 4 years and then hopefully get the money. You can take a kid that, could be, I don't know. They're not jumping off the top of my head, but look at all the flops as far as a draft pick for any sport, right?
Yeah. You might be the biggest sports athlete on the planet in college. You get to the pros, you're done.
Yeah. I saw a reel on Instagram that was like, and like the players aren't coming to mind right now, but it was like the top 10 NBA busts that were great in college, and it runs through like 10 through 6. And it's like, oh, I remember that name.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that name. But what happened to them? If it's those kids could have probably been well off, or at least set up for success if they would have had NIL money.
5, 10, 20 million later, Johnny Manziel, right? Just think about that guy if NIL was around. Now he made a lot of money still, but not NIL money.
But not probably. Like a friend of mine and I talk about that. We talk quite regularly about this kind of thing. Shout out to Stephen Blanton. But Stephen and I always talk about this kind of thing. And Johnny's like the one guy that I always bring up. Not that you feel sorry for Johnny, but part of you is like, man, do you know how many number 2 jerseys were sold around Texas A&M for 2 seasons? And dude didn't see a penny of it? Like, and I guess maybe it's
I heard 147 million jerseys or something like that.
Yeah. Even if the dude gets $1 a piece,
that maybe 147 million in revenue, not jerseys, but yeah.
But and he gets in trouble for signing some autographs, I don't know. I mean, so I'm torn, right? Like there's part of me that appreciates the old school way of, recruiting, and, you got this kid that's loyal to a school, and then you've got, loyal to all these things. But, in today's world, where are the coaches loyal? Who knows? Is the university loyal? Who knows? And maybe it's partly because I'm in a different season in life, with my kids are close to that college age. And it's like, man, if my son's in that position, and if we're sitting down and, you've got 5 schools, and one school's telling you they can get you 500,000. And then the next school is saying, hey, we got 2.5 million. That decision starts to become a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're going to see where you're already seeing kids swap universities every year, right?
Yeah. Or
2 years in now, right? So you might see a college athlete go through 3 teams.
Yes.
In their college career.
You and I talked about it the last time we sat down to do one of these. And we were talking about, what makes organizations great, and some of the leadership comes up. And, I think about that in college sports, and, while there's still some great leaders, I always looked at, I guess this is part of why I think NIL can be a good thing. Back in the day, if, Coach A recruits a kid and decides he wants to leave for more money 2 weeks later, he can, and he's not penalized. He can go coach right away. Yet Coach B comes in and has a completely different style, and maybe my kid doesn't fit, and then that kid's at a disadvantage. And, now the kid can leave. But at the same time, I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit. I don't like that they can just leave.
Yeah, I agree.
Weird.
I don't like it either, but there's so much money in college sports that you have to give the athletes that are bringing in the revenue a piece of it.
I think
know
so too.
I don't know if this is the perfect model or what is the perfect model. I was talking to an ex-college athlete last night at the ball fields, and he was like, man, when we went to these bowl games, they're making – $30-40 million at these bowl games.
And they're giving me a PlayStation.
And he's like, they're giving me this little DVD. Remember the DVD players that had this screen on them?
Yeah.
Like the 6, 7, 8 inch DVD. He's like, man, that was the coolest thing. But it was a $500,000 gift.
Yes.
Right. Like they're making 40 million.
Yes.
Right. Like, he mentioned, make it incentive based and pay your quarterback X amount based on incentives and things of that nature is kind of what he told me he thought was the right move. So we'll see where it goes.
I almost wish it were a little more like business, where it had to, there are schools right now that are taking a kid, like you get a top 5 nationally ranked quarterback, and this guy's instantly worth a couple $1 million, and he's done nothing in college, right? Like, I know where you came from in business. I know where I came from in business. We've never been worth that without proving it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in how many guys have jumped on this, into college from high school and never panned out.
Yeah.
And they're highly ranked, and I don't know. I think maybe incentive or performance based is the right way.
And to an 18-year-old, you mentioned loyalty and, what's going to work out with them at a college. An 18-year-old doesn't really understand loyalty and all those things yet, I think, at a high level. Like he doesn't get the business side of, is a coach still going to be there, or does the university really care? They haven't gone through that molding of the corporate world.
No, they're seeing the money,
the playtime, right? Maybe that
they're seeing that maybe a little bit, and the money that's involved, in the cars that the dealership down the road from the university is going to give them.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're seeing,
Yeah. I think, from a pro sports perspective, I don't know how the NIL shapes and changes pro sports. Do you think it shifts or keeps more athletes away from pro sports because they can make $20 million in college? And then they grow their Instagram followers to 1 million. And why do I need to be a pro athlete and ruin my body?
I don't know that the number is that high yet with NIL money. You know, even some of the biggest, I mean, Caitlin Clark, right? Like she's lighting things up. She's probably made more in NIL money or could potentially make more than she's a prime example.
Yeah.
Right?
I think Ice Cube offered her like $5 or $10 million or something like that.
Yeah. Like to me, she's a prime example because the money in the WNBA is non-existent.
Right.
Right. Like,
but she could change that.
But can she?
I think so. Look at how many people watched the Iowa game.
Yeah.
The last 2 games.
I have
like everybody at the ball fields had their screen on watching Iowa play.
Yeah.
Does that translate and shift to the WNBA? Because everybody knows who she is now.
No.
And is she at that high level of a Michael Jordan?
No.
She broke the all-time scoring record.
Yeah.
You don't think it changes?
No.
WNBA?
No.
Okay.
No, and it's not like a diss on the WNBA, but I think if you look at the NBA right now, the NBA numbers absolutely struggle. Like NBA viewership numbers compared to March Madness are like minuscule.
Yeah.
Like NASCAR has better viewership on a Sunday afternoon than the NBA.
I didn't know that.
Like on a pretty regular basis.
Okay.
Like
and that's way down from the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean it's going to change. It's going to change, but you get like and part of that is there's more games, right? Like there's more games to go around, but NBA viewership is low in comparison. So, do I think Caitlin Clark has a positive impact? I think she has a positive impact, but I don't know, man. Would the WNBA viewership go up if you put LeBron in the league?
Is that a trick question?
No. I mean,
yes, it would.
Legit.
Yes, it would.
Would it?
Yeah. People would want to see that.
He would probably average 100.
It would be good for a while, and they'd be like, okay, he's just going to score another 100 tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's not it sounds like such a diss on the women's game of basketball, but it's just kind of, for whatever reason.
My viewpoint on that, because I have a daughter that plays sports. She's a soccer player, and I think from what I see watching her play and the outside looking in, I think women's sports is becoming a lot more popular in today's age.
Yeah.
And I can see women's sports, WNBA not getting up to an NBA level, but I can see a Caitlin Clark, this person, that person getting that league up to a higher level, which it's at the bottom of the barrel now. Don't get me wrong, but there's room for growth there.
Oh, I would.
There's room for
absolutely
growth.
agree.
Caitlin Clark, $3.1 million made NIL is what's documented.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's lower or higher?
It's higher,
right? It's got to be higher.
You would think.
Bronny James at $4.9 million.
Yeah.
Made in NIL. He's only been in college 1 year or less.
That's one of those like.
Yeah, I mean his
dad's name,
dad,
right? Like there's probably 100 college basketball players that are better than him.
The Manning kid, I think, is right at $4 million.
Yeah,
in NIL, he's a freshman, right?
He's going into his sophomore year and has not played a single game.
So he's already made $4 million, right? So think of how the NIL is going to increase year over year. By the time he's graduated from college, he would have made well over $20 million easily.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So that kind of goes back to your point. Does it change the desire to go play in the NBA or to go play, somewhere else? I don't know that it does, because while that sounds like a lot of money to the average person, to anybody in America, $5 million is still a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
However, look at the highest paid basketball players today. Like, I don't know what the numbers are.
Average is probably 10 million in the league per year.
I would say that's for a low guy.
Right.
Like, what's Steph? Hey,
Or lowest salary, right?
Will, what's Steph Curry's salary? Like,
I will look it up.
yeah. I'm thinking that Steph Curry looks at $5 million and is like,
exactly. So if you come out of college, Manning, over 20 million made, does that up his amount that he expects to get in the pros?
I think it does.
Right?
I think it does because,
oh, you're not going to pay me 20 million a year next, or I'm not going there. They don't have the cap space.
Is
for
Caleb Williams coming out of USC right now a prime example of that? He's projected to be the number one quarterback or number one draft pick, number one quarterback. He said he's not going to this team, not going to that team. So he's like trying to dictate all these things, and maybe he has to have a certain dollar amount. You know, what
It says 4-year, $215 million contract. So, and this other number, so just over $50 million a year.
I'd say $5 million is not that much to that guy.
No, not at all.
So
he would laugh at 5 mil.
While I don't think it's going to say, hey, should I not play professionally? But like you said, I think it's like the business world.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's going to maybe be able to have a higher asking price, especially if he has the results to go behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's this guy who's, if he's won the Heisman in football, for example, and he's getting $4 million a year NIL money, and he's proven it on the field, then that guy probably does ask more money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cap space has to go up in the NFL.
Yeah, which is,
right?
It's scary to think that, I don't know, kids are, could make what they could make. But at the same time,
cost of living's going up. Everything's going up.
Yeah. I mean, but from a parent standpoint, if that's my kid, hey, we're going to take that deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't blame.
Generation wealth, right?
Hey, I'm all for capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Make your money while you can make your money. But that's a lot of it.
It is. I was looking at the top sports franchises in the world, and we talked on one of our other podcasts about Dallas Cowboys being more than just football and being a brand.
Yeah, it's a brand.
And we both said, hey, it's a brand, right? And that got me to thinking, Dallas Cowboys has a valuation of $9 billion, which is roughly $2 billion more than the next highest value team in the world. And I mean, to Jerry Jones, we talked about leadership. Does he have to win a Super Bowl every year to increase the value of his team? Or can he just stay average to keep a consistent fan base, to keep the value of his company raising, right?
That's...
Now, he wants to win a Super Bowl, obviously, right? But he doesn't have to.
No, he probably doesn't have to. That's such an interesting idea to think that he's built this brand that, I don't want to say winning doesn't matter, but man, when's the last time they've been a winner? It was the 90s.
Yeah.
People were driving.
They went to the playoffs, and
people were driving Mitsubishi Eclipses.
That's right.
Right? It's been a long time since the Cowboys have really been relevant. I don't want to knock what they've got going on right now. I think they've got some good players, that sort of thing. But at the same time, if Jerry decides he wanted to step out tomorrow, he's probably 5Xing his original investment.
5X and probably 100. Probably 1,000X.
I don't know what he paid for it.
Well, what did Jerry Jones pay for the Dallas Cowboys? Let's look that up.
I mean, if he's worth it's worth $9 billion now.
$9 billion, and you see what's his name, the owner of the Mavs selling recently, right?
Yeah, I think because he needed the money.
I think he sold the Mavericks for $5 billion.
Yeah, Mark Cuban,
something like that.
Mark Cuban needed the money.
It says $140 million.
He only paid $140 million for the Cowboys.
Back in the 70s, probably?
1989.
89. Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's worth $9 billion today. Do that math, the Xing. Let's see what that looks like.
Will's is going to be an engineer, so he's going to be our math guy right now.
Probably not much else return on your investment that good out there, unless you hit it big on a stock or something, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good return on investment.
Yeah, very good.
You know, we were discussing this topic, and I think you know that I follow motorsports and follow NASCAR, and
35.7.
oh, 35.7x.
Not as high as I thought it would be, but that's really good.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I think about, we talk about winning organizations and, business and evaluation. Like NASCAR is one of those that like each individual team is not franchised like an NBA franchise or NFL franchise, that sort of thing. But they have, the one that I think about, they just won for basically this past weekend. They've been winning at the highest level for 40 years. 40 years they've been winning.
That's a long time.
They've been winning almost as long as you and I have been alive. So they celebrated that. They win on the anniversary of their first win. They've won 14 Cup Series titles. So the highest level of sport, they've won 14 championships. I can't remember how many wins. It's over 300 wins, right? And we're talking about there's only 36 races a year, and they've won over 300 times. The win percentage is crazy. Single digit upper single digit win percentage in that sport is very high. So I look at, you just look at business and the way that they do things. The owner of the company, Rick Hendrick, he's in the auto business. Like he started this.
A lot of dealerships.
Yeah. Basically Days of Thunder. Right. Mm-hmm. And this guy just got into racing. This is something that he wanted to do, enjoyed. And just to see what culture, we talked about culture in the last show, that, what drives him, and it is at every level. He's got hundreds of auto dealerships from North Carolina to California. The same mentality at his auto dealerships that makes them successful goes right to the track. And it's like, golly, I see so we talk about the Cowboys and we talk about, does winning even matter because of their evaluation? I'm like, man, you look at this guy, and does Rick need the money? At this point, no. I would think that the money is not at all what drives him. It's probably not at all what drives Jerry Jones at this point. When you dig down deep.
Yeah, I don't see him wanting to sell the Cowboys.
No.
He lives, eats, breathes Cowboys.
Yes.
Jerry Jones, at the end of the day, he's in it for the long haul. He wants to win. He's not going to sell the franchise.
I mean, you mentioned the Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees.
Yeah.
Second highest.
$7.1 billion. And I'm not a Yankees guy.
I'm not either.
You're not a Yankees guy.
I'm not either.
So
but they're winning history.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Their brand, same thing.
Yep.
Right? But the NFL is more popular than the MLB right now.
Yeah.
Imagine the MLB being like it was in the 70s.
Or the McGuire Sosa era. When we had steroids in baseball.
If it was right. The Yankees might be valued at $15 billion.
Yeah.
If it was the same.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Huge brand.
Yeah.
And then you've got one being the Dallas Cowboys. You've got two being the Yankees, so MLB.
Yep.
And then you have three being NBA, Golden State Warriors.
And that's where they rank sports franchise evaluations. I wouldn't have thought the Warriors would be third on that list.
I know. But we talked about NBA salaries, right?
Yeah.
The evaluations of teams. The reason why their salaries are so high is, you've got 12 people on a team, 15 people on a roster?
Yeah.
Right? And they're all making 10, 15 million a year?
Would you think that though? Like if you were just blindly picking, hey, tell me the most valuable sports franchises in the U.S., would you have put a basketball team in the top 5?
I mean, I would instantly think probably the Lakers would be higher than Golden State.
I would
The
have
Lakers
thought,
is more of a brand than Golden State Warriors, in my opinion.
I would have thought, because I mean, historically, right? You talk about Dallas.
Mhm.
Historically, yeah, okay, that one makes sense. In the Yankees, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But then Golden State, I mean, they were completely irrelevant till Curry.
I know. Maybe it's all Curry.
Uh,
It could be. He is in my opinion, the top basketball player in the NBA from a following standpoint.
Oh man, I mean, objectively, I think he's the most fun to watch.
Yes.
Like,
When I talk to kids, my son, his friends about NBA players, it's Curry, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
shoot the threes. They
Yeah.
say Curry.
yeah, I mean, he's probably
Nobody's going up and doing a layup or a dunk and saying
no.
LeBron.
Well, they probably
know?
don't want to flop.
Right. I mean, Curry, number one, he still looks like a kid,
Yeah,
and
Well,
he plays like a playground kid would play.
I think you and I have a tainted view, though, right? Because we grew up in the Jordan era. So
Yeah.
if I'm like Jason, who's the greatest basketball player of all time,
Michael Jordan, bar none.
bar none,
Yeah, not an
Right.
argument.
right?
And I would say number two, in my opinion, would be Kobe.
Yep.
Okay, and then LeBron maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Will, what would you say?
I do not care.
Do not care.
I do not care
Do not
about
care.
basketball.
He had to think about it there
Yeah.
for a minute.
He's like,
Yeah, honestly, like the gears were turning in my head. I was like, I really don't know.
yeah. So that tells me a couple things. Like, Will is younger than us.
Yeah,
One, I don't think the NBA. I mean, NBA. I don't want to say the NBA is not popular, but I think the popularity of the NBA, which is wild to me.
Mhm.
One, that Golden State is number 3 on this list. Obviously, they're doing something right. But a younger person, it's like, I don't care, And I
Mhm.
think you and I would both say that it's Jordan, and the second place is a long way away.
Yeah, 100%
championships.
agree. Jordan, in my eyes, will always be the greatest.
Jordan never lost a finals.
Exactly.
Jordan didn't flop.
Did flop. Laid it all out on the line,
Yes.
no matter what.
He got beat up by the Pistons, like
And
elbowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Celtics, Pistons.
If you breathe on LeBron, he falls down.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, I got a joke for you. Jason tells a joke.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. What do you call a chameleon that cannot change colors?
I feel like I shouldn't be able to. Okay, I don't know.
What do you call a chameleon
I don't
that
know.
cannot change colors?
I don't know.
A reptile dysfunction.
That one may be better than the last one. That one's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You guys should get that. All right.
Since
you may be more so than Will.
why would you say me?
I'm just messing with you.
I'm still young and spry. Hey, I do have we talked about irrelevant information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while this isn't a joke, it's irrelevant, relevant information. Did you know that a hummingbird is the only animal that can fly backwards?
A hummingbird
A hummingbird
is the only animal.
yeah. Period.
I wouldn't even think of it as an animal
Period. Bird, mosquito, insect
that can
it's
fly
anything.
backwards.
Yeah. Nothing else can fly backwards.
Okay. Can it shift its wings? Is that how it's able to fly backwards?
I don't know.
I got to look that up.
I didn't
I'm
go there.
curious now.
Well, its wings go in like a figure 8 pattern.
Maybe that's it, right?
Oh,
Like,
And so they can push more with their wings in any direction. And then
See?
so they can fly in literally any direction.
my engineer has looked at the wings of a hummingbird.
Yeah.
Got that from Wildcrats.
That is so awesome. That brings me back. Baylor was like when he was little. Wildcrats was the show.
It is
Yeah.
the best show of all time.
Yeah.
Cannot change my mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My daughter loved it too. But yeah, I guess looking at them, we all see them fly. You can see them kind of hover back and forth. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I'm here to do what I can.
Sports brings in a ton of income,
Mhm.
right? It's a huge business. And I think a lot of organizations maybe look at sport organizations as a model on how they can structure and help their company produce and make more revenue. I think there's a lot of great things to look at from sports organizations. We talked about the NIL a little bit.
Yeah.
My curiosity there is kind of the trickle down into youth sports on what the NIL is going to do for youth sports. There's the IMG academies of the world. There's all this money that parents are investing in their kids. You and I have done it in travel sports, right? Because we feel like in order for our kid to be in a competitive environment and have the best competition, we got to go out and spend this money on travel sports. Like the Little League has died, right? Because your average to better players are now playing in travel sports. So to that point, I mean, do you think there's going to be that much more money spent on youth sports? Is it going to become that much more of a business around travel sports, around training, athletic, training, producing these athletes to get them to a spot where they can make NIL money? Is that going to be a focus in 5-10 years?
I don't, I don't know if the focus changes to get to the NIL money, but the specialization of youth sports at an extremely early age, I mean, I would have never thought it would be where it is, where you got, a kid doing pitching lessons one day, for example, and hitting, and, they're doing strength and conditioning when they're 10,
Right. Instead of being outside playing as a kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Instead of just being a kid, and I think maybe we're guilty of it to a certain extent. Maybe, I don't know. We got a little taste of it in our household at an earlier age because of Haley has a younger brother that we watched go through the travel baseball thing and do all that stuff at an early age. So maybe I have a clearer picture than some people who think, they're 12-year-olds getting drafted,
Yeah.
That's kind of a scary place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that the NIL is to blame. I don't know what's to blame, but youth sports is a huge business. Like,
right. Is it bigger, or can it be bigger than professional sports? It's got to be, right? I mean,
there's more participants?
Are we spending more money on our kids developing as athletes than we are for the Dallas Cowboy tickets?
We are 100%.
Right.
Yeah. But
so why can't there be a Dallas Cowboys of youth sport development?
Lord, I don't know. Maybe there can be.
Maybe there will be, right?
I don't know. You mentioned that. Hey, where are you spend? That's pretty intriguing. Where are you spending your money?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna? You and I talk about it all the time, and I kind of say it jokingly, and maybe it's not that much of a joke. We get folks that'll invite us to a Braves game or invite us to, hey, let's go watch a Reds game, or, if you're ever in. And kind of my standing statement, it's not really a joke, is that I don't really care to watch a baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to watch a baseball game, I'm going to watch my kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here at 20 games deep into a high school season. I've seen plenty of baseball already this year.
Yeah.
It's a great game,
mm-hmm.
but for me to sit down and watch a baseball game, I don't know. So maybe in some capacity it is for some people bigger than pro sports.
Yeah.
It's right now at this part
but
in
there's
my life,
a large percentage of people that don't have kids as high school baseball players, but they enjoy baseball still, right?
It's just it's a neat dynamic to think about. But yes, I think youth sports in general is a huge business.
It's a business from a standpoint of, I mean, ticket sales, right? They're going to charge more. They're going to improve facilities. They're starting to spend hundreds of $1,000s on turf.
Jason, I thought about this. So I'm actually meant to send it to you on Instagram. There is a school in, I think it's Texas. I'll send it to you. They are raising $500,000 a year for the baseball program at a high school. Okay.
Raising.
This is not including whatever, county, city, school district, whatever they're
Public
doing.
school or private school? I would imagine private school.
I didn't get that deep into it. This place has a college, like a very nice college, or like I guarantee you there are minor league baseball programs that don't have the same level of facilities this high school does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking TVs above the locker with the kids' names on them, like unbelievable. So to your point, this is youth sports.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, is that,
but parents will spend the money for that.
Parents, businesses,
right? Sponsorships, right?
Somebody saw the benefit. This is part of why I think it's important to discuss and maybe important in the business world. Some business owners saw the benefit in donating X dollars into this high school baseball program.
Yeah.
Right. And if I'm a business, especially a local business, we're in Middle Tennessee, I would rather see my dollars go to a local program versus maybe the Titans, right? Maybe your impact could be greater.
I think it could be. You might have more eyes at the Titan Stadium.
You absolutely do.
But your impact will definitely be greater on youth sports, right?
Yeah, so what's more important, right? Like, and
I would rather have my business logo on the youth sports field.
Yes.
Right. The signage on the 400-foot mark, 350-foot mark, whatever.
Yep.
Right. Or above the dugout than at the Titan Stadium. To me, that's more bang for my buck as a local business.
Yep.
Right. Small business. So that's where I would rather be. And I think I think the whole trickle down effect with sports and business, starting with the pros to now the NIL, youth is only going to continue to grow, right? We were raised in an era where you played little league baseball and you had 10 games in the spring and you were done, right?
Yeah.
Now kids are playing 50 games a year or more, right? Yeah. And it's just become this huge business. And whether you're for it or against it, I think it's inevitable that there's going to be a lot of money made, a lot of businesses created around youth sports in the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
And that is in my opinion, if you take away anything of this podcast and you got an idea about doing something, I don't think you can fail in creating the right business model with youth sports. Parents will be willing to pay for the right service for their kid.
Yeah, or right? The perceived right service.
Perceived right service, right?
Yeah.
And it for them, it's all about perception and marketing as well, just like any business, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of similarities there, but I think we will see things change over the years with NIL.
Yeah.
And just the fact that we're also, me as a parent, I'm trying to keep my kid busy. I don't want them on TV, their iPad. They're not going outside to play anymore. So how do you keep your kid busy in 2024? Well, you sign them up for gym class, for travel baseball, for basketball in the winter.
You put a fishing rod in their hand and a shotgun in their hand.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
That is another good way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, we are trying to keep our kids as busy as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure. I mean, you and I are prime examples, right? Like both of your kids are busy every night of the week. Mine are, between dance and baseball and everything in between. It's pretty hectic. And then you sit back there and look, it's like, I really hope they're getting an education at the same time, like
True. Yes.
Just do better than me, kids.
Yes.
Like that's
We all want better for our kids. I think that's our generation, right? We want better for our kids, and we're trying to give them everything we didn't have.
Hopefully, you know.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully it's easier for them.
We'll see how that generation turns out. I mean, Will looks like he's turning out okay.
Yeah, he is so far. We're going to keep tabs on Will.
We're going to keep tabs on him.
Yeah.
I got time to go downhill.
Yeah. I've got high hopes for you, Will.
Thank you.
So I think it's time for the podium talk.
Okay.
Let's get to it, right?
Okay.
Every episode we have the podium talk where we go over our top 3 of whatever it is of our choosing of the week. And this week, for the podium talk, we're going to talk about the one, the only, the chicken sandwich.
Okay. Okay.
So we've done hamburgers, right? We're going to talk chicken sandwiches, right? But we're only talking fast food chicken sandwiches.
Got to have a drive-through.
Got to have a drive-through. So, you know, you don't have to walk in. You just pull up and you get your chicken sandwich and you eat and you be merry and enjoy the yummy goodness fried chicken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to have a bun, right?
Yeah,
Fried chicken sandwich. Okay.
Yeah, I think you know where I stand on this. I'm a self-proclaimed fried chicken connoisseur, and not a big chicken sandwich guy.
Right.
However,
we'll get to tenders at another time.
Yeah, we can go breast and a thigh.
And we could go there.
Yeah.
Because that's another category as well.
We got plenty. Stay tuned.
All right. So top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Let's both give our top 3. Let's start at 3 though. So for number 3 for me, I'm not a huge fast food guy. Number 1, I'll just state that, right? I try to eat healthy. I'm not eating a lot of bread like you. Try not to.
I don't ever eat a lot of bread.
Yeah, but
Drink beer.
I do like chicken sandwiches, so it's kind of it's a reward for me, right?
Yeah.
Or just something fast, quick, right? On those instances. But I'm gonna go number 3. I'm gonna go with a Zaxby's chicken sandwich.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have a drive-through, right?
It's like a chicken tender sandwich,
It's like a chicken tender sandwich. Yeah. It's like
they just take their chicken tenders and put it in between bread.
It's like, I'm not feeling like wings tonight or a salad. I'm going to get their sandwich.
Okay.
Yep. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
What you got for 3?
I would say number 3 is Bojangles.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I frequent their biscuits for my family.
Yeah.
Their chicken biscuits in the morning.
But
they're money.
Listen.
They are good.
Bojangles chicken biscuit.
Cajun with egg and cheese. I don't know if you tried that.
With pimento cheese.
With pimento cheese. Okay.
The Bojangles Cajun chicken biscuit with pimento cheese on top. As the kids would say, it's fire.
Fire.
Yeah, it's fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So that's our 3.
Yeah.
Number 2. You go ahead and give your number 2 first.
Number 2, like I said, I'm not like the biggest chicken sandwich guy. Like as much as I love fried chicken, I would tell you that it's got to be Cane's. You know, Cane's.
But does Cane's actually have a chicken sandwich?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't know they had a chicken sandwich.
Yes,
you
sir.
surprised me there.
You can put that thing on bread.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say Cane's. I mean, the Cane's sauce, the chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to surprise you here. I think it's going to be a surprise.
Okay.
Number 2 for me is Chick-fil-A.
Somewhere in heaven, the Lord is upset right now.
Don't get me wrong. I love a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
This is where I take my headphones and just walk away.
It's consistent. It's good. But if you were to give me the best chicken sandwich they could ever make, which you're going to get every time at Chick-fil-A, versus the best chicken sandwich I'm going to tell you on number 1.
Yeah.
Like custom made, like they put everything into it. I'm going to go with number 1 and I'll get to my number 1 in a minute. What's your number 2?
I gave you.
Are you gave me Cane's? Okay. So you give me your number 1. What's that?
I mean, it's the Lord's chicken.
And who's the Lord's chicken?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Okay.
Yeah. And it's like.
Do you go regular or spicy? Because they have the spicy now.
I think spicy is the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, and I'm I've said this on every one of them. I don't typically order the chicken sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and this is so weird, but breakfast time, I'm going to order the spicy chicken biscuit at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
But I would say, I mean, Chick-fil-A, it's just let me tell you why it's number one real quick. This is not going to take a long time. Other than it being the Lord's chicken.
Yeah.
Their consistency is unparalleled. I can go to Chick-fil-A in Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, wherever, and no matter what the location is, no matter what small town, it tastes the exact same.
Absolutely.
Right?
We talked about that in top companies, right?
Yes. And it's always good.
Consistency is key.
Yeah. It's never bad. So that's why they're number one.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, if you were to give me the best of the best,
you're probably right.
Like you give me the best chicken sandwich Chick-fil-A can make, and my number one is going to be Popeye's chicken. If they're like, oh, the mayor's coming in, I'm about to make the best chicken sandwich he's ever had in his life.
You go to Popeye's.
Mayor Chad.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Popeye's. Like
Okay.
it's solid. Like
now I'm like wanting a chicken sandwich.
Like it is very good, right? When they first came out with that chicken sandwich, they had cars lined up everywhere to get it.
I remember.
And it's worth it.
Wasn't that like around COVID times, like 2020, something like?
I think so. Yeah.
That's such a weird time, man.
Yeah. No,
I remember that too. I don't eat fried chicken. I remember that. Everybody was talking about that stupid sandwich.
Is that not so weird? That like we shut the country down, we wear masks, we line up around a business for chicken sandwiches. Like,
hey, chicken's on the come up, right? I mean, chicken is becoming more popular than burgers. So anyways, my number one is going to be Popeyes. If you haven't tried it, go get you one. Tell them you're the mayor. Make sure they make it the best for you. You're going to like it.
Yeah. Well, for future episodes, I got to set this up. So Will and I, just so everybody knows, I will try the Popeyes chicken sandwich at some point, but Will and I are going to go eat fried chicken. Will is not a fried chicken guy. And
Will, you got a thing against chickens?
No,
or you just don't like chicken.
You eat them in the grilled form?
Sometimes. I mean, I have chicken all the time. I just don't have fried chicken. We never go somewhere and get fried chicken. If somewhere has fried chicken, I don't get it. I get something else. By all means.
I'm going to take Will under my southern wing.
By all means.
And we're going to eat fried chicken.
I love going on eating journeys. I'll take any eating journey. I will gladly do that.
Yeah,
we'll do that. All right, guys. That concludes this episode. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Enjoyed it.
All right.